All right. Welcome to 122 part 2. We're going to leave off start on right after 26. Last time we had your code. Hopefully you have the code at the end of 122 part 1 because you enter your name when you do the code. And then you click on the dots. And last time we were making it update the leaderboard. So if you have a list of leaders already, I didn't have anyone in here, but you should have seen all the scores. The problem is it deletes it every time. But you would see your scores and then the current leaderboard. But the code right now is not actually updating the leaderboard if you should be on there. So that's what we're doing right now. So the function is responsible. So a little bit of review. What do each of these things do? If I say nums equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, this will actually save a list this saves a list under nums with 5 elements in it, and they are just all integers. Okay. If I said x equals nums 3, what this is going to do, it's going to save into the variable x, the whatever's in the third index spot. Now that does not mean 1, 2, 3. You start counting at 0. So it's actually going to save, this is 0, 1, 2, 3. It would save 7 into x because that's at the third index spot because you start with 0. All right. Access an element list using index. Now, if I said nums 3 equals 7, this says, hey, whatever's in index value 3 of this list, change it to 7. Which is dumb in this case because 0, 1, 2, 3, it's already 7. So this would overwrite this. So if this said num 3 equals 8, then it would change that 7 to an 8. That's a bad example. And if I said nums.append 11, what it's going to do, it's going to add another element of 11 to the end of the list. So append ends to the end of the list. So now the list would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, or 1, 3. Nums pop. Pop takes the last element from the list and pops it off. So in the case, if it was this list right here, it'd pop off the 9, right? If it was this list right here, it popped off the 11. Whatever's on the far right side of the list, it pops up. Whoever showed up in Zoom, can you type in chat to tell me you're here? Now, nums removes 7. This removes not the 7th element. It removes whatever element has a 7 in the list, it'll knock it out. So it'll scan the list. It starts at the beginning. Not a 7, 3, 5. Oh, this is a 7. It pops it out. So then if you had, let's say, this original list, and then you ran the command nums remove 7, it would just pop this 7 out. I say pop, but that's basically what it's doing. And then it would just be 1, 3, 5, 9 left in the list. All right? So that's what those things do. New command we're learning. Hey, this is the first thing, len. The len function gets you the length of a list. So the length of the list, this is going to be used a lot. I've already added it to this list of commands right here, and everything so far I've learned today, it's on there. The lens, so if I ran this code right here, the length of the list is 5. So it has an animals list of dog, cat, mouse, bird, monkey. Notice there's 5 things in this list. And then you print the length of the list is len, and they put animals list inside. This returns the length of that list. So length of the list is 5. If you deleted, let's say cat from this, now there's 4 things in here, and I ran that. Let's say the length of that list is 4. What if I deleted everything from that list? The length of the list is 0. So that all behaves correctly. All right. Len returns the integer number of the length of the list. So now a neat thing is that it also works with strings, right? So I played around with this a lot. Okay. Oh, I shouldn't have erased that. Oh, well. So for example, I can go print len, and let's say I had the string hello like this. It's going to print 5 because there are 5 characters or 5 letters in hello. If I said hello exclamation, it's now going to say 6 because I added the exclamation mark, and that's a character. If I said hello exclamation space for some reason, this should say 7. So spaces do count as a character, right? Things to know. What if there was nothing in that list? Nothing in that string? Print a 0. So length can also be used for strings, and it can be used for lists. All right. Because strings are kind of a list, right? Now, there's this cool animation to explain this. what can you use length for? So check this out. So if you have an animals list, and let's say of those dog, cat, mouse, bird, monkey, and I'm going to do this while loop. So I start the index at 0, and my conditional is the index less than the length of the animals list. Well, animals list length is 5. So index, it's going to print out the first index, and then it's going to increment. So I think last time we did this, a similar thing like with this with a for loop, like we were trying to append something with concatenate right now. And I think this is a different way to do that. Instead of like going through that whole list, we said for blah in whatever list. This is another way to say, hey, I want to do this for every item in the list. And so another way of doing this, I kind of like this way better, using length. And I think you'll get your len or length. I'm going to say length because that's what it is. Thank you for saying you're here. And that's what's going to go on. So it's going through this. It's iterating the 4th time. So it's going to print the 4th item and then add 1 to the index. Now, is 5 less than 5? No, it's not. So it's going to dip out. All right. So now it dipped out. Now notice at the end when it dipped out, it came out with 5. So the value of index at the end was 5, which was also the length of the list. So if you write code like that, whatever you return should be the length of the list. Cool. Another command we can do is we can insert into a list. So for example, I'm going to erase all this because this is probably what I did last time. Okay. For example, you have this animals list right here. Dog, cat, mouse, bird, monkey. And I say list insert for lion. Watch what this does. And then I'm going to print the animals list again. Watch what happens. Dog, cat, mouse, bird, lion, monkey. So what it does when you say a for, it's going to insert it at the 4th index, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to insert it right before the 4th index. And there's a little animation to explain that down here. I love these animations. They're really good. Good job, Project Lead the Way. Great job. Wonderful. So it's going to animate like that. Other things that are neat, because I played around with this as you're watching it. What if I said, so if I said insert, I hate how this is like, can't really see this. I don't want to open a new screen because it just, what if I change this to like 0? It'll put lion at the beginning, right? And if I change it to 1, it should put lion between dog and cat right here. What if I changed it to -1? It's actually going to put it where, it puts it right before monkey. Remember from last time, this is index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it also is backwards, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So you can use the negative indexes. What if I said like 10, an index that's way too big, right? Well, that's way outside the range. Is this going to insert something or is it going to give me an error? Oh, it inserts at the very end. Same thing if I did like -10, which would be way too negative, it'll insert at the very beginning. So it's kind of neat that it doesn't give an error message if you go like out of bounds. I find that neat. So, okay, you can say you observe this kind of stuff. So it's nice. Sometimes you want to insert things in the middle of the list. Like in our case, we're going to want to insert scores in the top 5 wherever they should be in that list. So I'm going to reset this one. Use this interactive. Okay, I showed you how to do this. You can skip that. I mean, if you want to, you can insert more lions. You can insert 5. You can do animals, ligers. Sure. I don't know. It's another animal. You can. I'll leave it up to you. Moving on with my life. Okay, let's say we want to pop things. Now we learned how to pop. It pops pop in parentheses, but you leave it blank, just pops the rightmost thing. So for example, if I had this list and I do pop like that, it's going to pop off monkey and leave dog, cat, mouse, and bird. But watch, if you put a number in here, this pops off whatever's at that index value. So pop 1 is going to pop off that cat. If I do a pop 0, it should pop off this dog right here. Yep. There you go. So this is different from, in the last case we were doing remove. Remove says you give it which value to look for and pop that value off. In the case of pop will, you tell it the index spot, whatever's at this address, and pop it off. So they kind of, they remove things from a list, but they do it in different ways. Pop is by index value. Remove is by whatever the element is. It searches for the first one, going left and right. So kind of a neat thing. So a video on how to pop this works. Guess I should have played this while I was talking. Another great video, Project Lead the Way. I love this. There's so many of these in this lesson. I've always wanted this kind of like animations. Like I see this in my head and it's like, oh, it'd be really cool if you had these to explain what the code does. But I don't have time to create that. I don't know what to do. So I'm happy someone has. All right. So now look at this thing. This is slightly different. So when you pop, it also saves whatever you popped, and you can save it to a variable. So maybe you want to store it as animal and say, I just popped the animal from the list. So when that pop returns, what we say returns whatever was stored in that element. All right. So now that we explained a few things, and it's a lot of background here, I'm exhausted already, but now we're actually going to update our code. So last time in our code, we went to the leaderboard, and we finished load leaderboard. We're done with that, so I'm going to hide that. We're going to do update leaderboard and all these to-dos right here. So find to-do 5, which is at the beginning. We're going to do complete the while loop header so that it iterates through each leader scores list. The great thing about this, folks, you could think about, oh, how do I complete this header? But there's hints right there. So if you want to do this on your own, Project Lead the Way is kind of nice about this. They said, hey, you could do it on your own, or here's the hint, here's the answer, paste it. Now, notice I got rid of those comments, blocks, whatever. I don't like those because I want this code to work. The issue right here is this while loop was supposed to be right here. So you make sure it should be lined up with this leader index. This is the while loop, and this is an if-else inside the while loop. So for step 5, we want the while loop so that it iterates through the leader scores list. Now we just did an example. So it says leader index is 1. What you can do if you need help, check these out. We want to do it length of the list. Actually, leader index is less than the length of the list. That was just like the example we did below or above in that first video. So I can copy and paste it right in there. Control-C, Control-V. All right. Now I'm going to move on to to-do 6. Complete the if header. Again, these are probably hidden. Oops, I'll pretend they're hidden. Now we want to complete this if header. Header means like whatever's in this conditional right here. If something, well, check if this is a position to insert the new score. So check the position at what the new score should be inserted. So we want to insert these in order. Like if a new score should be inserted, like these are in like order, biggest score to lowest score, right? So for example, so I have this leaderboard. Let's see. Mary had 50 to 23. Me had 11. And had 5. So this should be in order. And let's say you played the game and your score was 10. Your score should be between me and Okay? So what are we're gonna loop through. The if should check to see if the new player's score is greater than or equal to the score at the current index value. And if you don't know how to do this, look at the spoilers right there, folks. So we take what's copied in for that if statement. I'll put it right in here. Boom. It's okay if you do this, folks. This is about helping you out. And then you say, oh, if the player score, so my current player score is greater than or equal to the leaderboard's, whatever's already at that spot, it's going to break out. Otherwise, it's going to add 1 to the index. You might be like, well, what's that break thing? Break thing is something that lets you dip out of whatever loop you're in. So it's whenever you run break, it dips out of this while loop and right here, or dips out of the for loop. Whatever your innermost for loop or while loop is, it dips. So this is nice. And like, why would you want this in this code? Well, your index, you're kind of keeping track of where you want to insert it. So it's checking everything on the list. And then you get to a certain point and go, oh, this is the spot where it should be on the list. So then I want to dip out of this loop and go to the next part of the code. Typically, sometimes in programming, breaks can be dangerous to use because like it might be harder to debug if you have like a really big while loop. You don't know where the breaks are, but it's okay to use. Break just dips out of the while loop. And so explain how the while loop works and why it's important to use the break. Yeah, because you don't want to keep going forever. It's almost like, you know how you can break out of the while loops by this conditional, right? That's how you break out of while loops usually. It's weird to have breaks in the middle. Like this should be your only break point. But some ways, depending on how you program things, it's okay to have the breaks in the middle. But it can be dangerous for decoding or debugging reasons. Next step, 37, let's pretend these are hidden. Step 7 is to do 7, determine the index at which the new score should be inserted. Add the code to do 7 to insert the player name and score into the corresponding lists. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, to do 7, insert player name and score. And you don't know how? Boom, use the list insert that we did before. I think we already talked about insert, right? I assume we did in some lesson. I know it's on the command list. I don't know at this point. We just paste it. Now make sure this is lined up with the while loop right here. These should be tabbed at the same level, and both these should be the same. So the leader scores and leader names, we insert this score and the name at the same index spot. Test the code so far. So let's do this. Let's see if it runs. So I have a list. I'll remember with this list. Oh, I didn't put a new line at the end. Better do that. All right, so I run this. I got to enter my name, Brophy. Okay, and then, oh, geez, I wanted to click. Oh, I'm not going to be fast enough. Now it cleared this, but notice, now I'm on the list. Brophy's at the end. Boom, boom, boom. Now, I wish I just, I got to make a new list. Hello. Going to be 123. It's going to be 42. Students. No, it should be less than this. 33. I will be 22. What? 10. Let's say I already have a top 5, right? Let's say I run this code again. And I enter my name. I'm going to go 6th place. Why do I name that? I'm just being weird. Oh no, I messed up again. Actually, I don't know if you want to put a space in your name, so I'm just going to garbage name right there. Please run. Oh, it did one of those laggy things again. I hate when it does that. I hate you, Project Leadoy. I hate you, Replit. Just like, it gets bogged down, right, sometimes, and doesn't want to load up the screen. Okay, so here's what happened. Oh, wait. Oh, I didn't make the leaderboard? Okay, well, I'm going to make the leaderboard easier. Oh, it does say, sorry, you didn't make the leaderboard? Wow. Okay, I'll make that, what is going to be a 1 now. Okay, I'm going to beat what? Watch what happens. So, okay, I have a score of 2. I should be between high and what, right? I should bump what off. But what happens here is it does 6 instead. What we really want this to do is what should be popped off the list. We only want top 5. So we need to update the code so it gets rid of that. So we're going to update it so that the 6th person gets knocked off. So add in 228 right here. We go back to do 8. Where am I at? To do 8's right here. Okay, so keep both lists of 5 elements only. So there's 2 options. Okay, there's spoilers right here. So you have 2 options. Basically, your index value is at the spot to pop it off. or you want to pop off 6th place right now. So what you can do, if the length of the leader's names is 6, that means you have too many things. You can pop off the 5th element, or you can just say pop with nothing because that's where your index is, right? Or pop just pops the rightmost thing off. Both ways work. I like doing number 1 better. So I'm going to copy and paste this right here. Notice, okay, I got to align this up. Here's a hint. If you highlight all these things and hit the tab button, they all tab at the same time. It's kind of helpful. If you want to go backwards tab, you do shift tab. You can go backwards. See, I can go backwards. So nice things to know how to do. Undo the block string in to-do 9 and review the code in the while loop. Okay, so undo, when I say block string, it's these comments. Again, this while loop should be back here to be lined up with everything else. Make sure this while part. So loop through all the leaderboard elements, write them to the file. Okay, so we're learning some new things. So we're opening the file again, and notice this has a W here. In part 1, we put an R there because we wanted to read that file. Now we put a W because we're going to open that file to write to that file. One thing when you do open, it deletes everything already in the file. You might be like, uh-oh. But that's okay because I already saved my leaderboard earlier on, right? It's saved in those lists. The leader names and leader scores, the lists. So I'm opening this to write, and it erases it. We set our index to 0, and then it's going to loop through. It's going to write the leaders' names. Notice how write works. Write has this big old string in there. Maybe if I do this, it stretches out better. Leaders' names plus comma, and then concatenates a string of the leader scores. Notice it puts stir there to convert that index, that number, to a string. And then it puts a /n, and if you remember from last time, that means new line. So we're doing all those things at 120. Oh, geez. Okay, so we write all that on. It's basically just writing text into there, and then adding the index, and it should just keep looping through that while loop. How do you make it loop? Length of leader index less than the length of the leader name. Similar to what we did before. So I'm going to paste that into the while loop, and we're going to go from there. Now test the code and make sure it works. Sure. Okay, so I have no one in here. I hate doing this. Of course I can. I have to make up names again. I'm going to make up colors. Salmon, remember? That was a color. And then I will be 1. There, run this. I'm going to enter my name. See how many I can get. I'm going to erase. I'm going to try hard. Jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, it errored again because stupid new line. Okay, hold on. Try really hard. Okay, I need a bigger screen. Okay. Okay. I can't do it. Can you do more in 5 seconds? Mine gets smaller though. There. Top 5 score. I made it. It updated. It booted out. Oh, it did put me in 5th place last time. It gave me, because I tied, I think, my previous score, so it put me back there. That's cool. All right. So we got to this part. Now, we're done with this function. Update leaderboard. Now we're going to actually draw the leaderboard. I'm hiding this. Yeah, you people on Zoom, we got 3 minutes of class. I'm going to keep recording, though. And I'll post it online. So draw leaderboard. Last piece of leaderboard functionality is to draw the leaderboard in the turtle screen. So this function also includes 2 potential messages that may be displayed on the screen. I thought it already works. The first message lets players know when they've made leaderboard or not. The code of this feature is already included in the draw leaderboard function. Second message lets players know when they earned a bronze, silver, or gold medal based on their score. You'll be writing code for that. Okay, because it already displays stuff. So I'm like, why am I doing anything? Okay, so bronze, silver, or gold. So far, you've used relational. So we got Booleans, right? Logical operators. We've already used like not equal to, less than, greater than stuff. We also have, those are relational operators, relate to numbers and stuff like that. However, there are additional operators called logical. similar to relational numbers, relational. I want to say relationship numbers. Logical operators compare two Boolean expressions. Okay, so what does and do? And is like you have things on both sides. If both things are true, it's true. Like, what's the best? Okay, this is stupid. You know the best way to do this? You got to make a box. So you make a box, and you have two things, A and B. Okay, this is a terrible box. You go A and B, and this is true and false. Wait. No, wait, this is not how it works. I know what I want to make. So, okay. I've messed up the box twice. This is the A side and the B side. And if B can either be true or false, and A can either be true or false, right? So, if you are in ands, if A is true and B is true, the result will be true. However, they both have to be true for this to be true. So if both are false, that's definitely going to be false for the ands. And if only one of those is true, like in this case or this case, these will be false. So that's how the and operator works. Both sides have to be true for this to return true. So in this case, the grade is greater than 70 and less than 80. So if it was like 71, then it returns true. If it was like 81, that would not be true because it would not pass this one right here. Those that joining in, you can watch me finish. Now we got the OR operator here. I'm going to draw a box for the OR operator. This is a new box. A, B, T, F. You do this. The OR operator says only one or the other one has to be true for it to be true. So if they're both true, it's still true. But if like only B is true and A is false, that's okay. We're still say true because that has to be true or this has to be true. And if this is true and that's false, that's fine. That's also true. But if they're both false, we say false. That's how it works. So and is like they both have to, this has to be true and this is true. And or it's like this is true or this is true. I guess the only so if they're both true, they're good. But if only one is true, that's fine too. All right. Now, what's the not operator? The not just flips it. So it's only if you have like a one thing. So A can either be true or false. And, in the case where A is true, not, so this is for not, it would flip it. That's false and that's going to be true. Basically, not just does the opposite. It's not that thing. So it's the opposite thing. Not means the opposite. This was or. Anyone's watching at home, and that was and. I'm sure there's a prettier picture somewhere online, but I wasn't ready for that. So there's the differences there. I'm going to pause the video for a second. More on logical operators, folks. We just did this. We're going to actually review this code and how these logical operators work. So, okay, the ands you just put in between, the ors you put in between. It works like that block I just showed. And the not operator, so while not is time up. So sometimes you do variables or functions called like is something. And those typically, I like doing those as variables, like is this thing on. So it's like, you leave that as like a true or false. Like it's asking a question that's either yes or no, true or false. So when you see people do is whatever, is time up, true or false type stuff. So I don't know what this code does. I don't care. It should print x equals 8, 4, 8, 12, right? New line, then it'll say true or false. Okay, so play with that. I don't care. I'm moving on because I want to finish this. Display the achievement level. The last task you have to complete in the leaderboard module is display bronze, silver, or gold. Find to do 10. They didn't need to add this. There's already enough things here. Come on. Like, slow down, Project Lead the Way. Fine to do 10. To do 10 is... Okay, so we're done with this guy. Gonna hide him. To do 10. I don't know what's going on. Here's this. Okay. The code currently has an incomplete if statement and 3 messages, so we're going to get rid of the comment dealy. And then it has this if with these things. If, else, write an if, else statement that will display the appropriate message based on the player's score and the 3 scoring levels. So if you're in first place, you should get a bronze, silver, and gold, first, second, third, right? The great thing is, if you don't know,